Well, hello! It's now early April and I'm here at the boatyard to do some work with the SeaCamel, this electric sailboat here. The lake is still on ice, so we're not hurry with this thing yet. I'm not sure yet what this video is going to be, but I would imagine it will be some kind of CNC machine building and maybe boat design and shed design or something like that. So before we start, remember to subscribe to the channel because there's awesome videos coming this year, so you definitely want to keep up with those. So what we're doing here, I just try to sand a little bit of the bottom paint off. We don't really need any anti-fouling when we are on this freshwater lake, so I'm just getting rid of this black stuff at the bottom and paint it with epoxy paint. And yeah, that should be good for many years. Also, I'm gonna refurbish the cockpit area of this spring. I already took the teak slats off from the seats. I'm going to sand them and glue them down and also make some kind of caulking between there, so there will be much nicer to sit on. Other than that, there's not really much to do with this boat. Just put the motor back in the bottom, the cockpit area, and then we're ready to splash it for this summer. The CNC router frame has been successfully moved from the workshop to temporary hall, which is my father-in-law's. I'm going to finish the machine there. And the shed has been ordered, so right now I don't have yet the place for it, but I hope this will change in the next few weeks. Maybe while this video is on the work, so fingers crossed with that. But let's start with putting together all the electric parts for the CNC router. I should have all the parts now, and let's take a look how that looks. All right, we're finding our places here. Power comes in here through these breakers. There's a contactor to power everything. Power supplies, AC, and the grounding thingies, and then there is this DC side where I can put the plus and minus if needed. Now I can put the controls on this side of the box, the power on buttons and things like that, and maybe the connectors can be on this side. But now I can put the cable tray right across here, then two on each side of these DIN rails, and on that side as well, so all the connections are close to the tray. Yeah, I think this will work. And now I should mark all the places and make some measurements and drill some holes and put some threads in, and yeah. what we got here. This is the first and the biggest investment I had to do for this boat project. And it's here, waiting. This is not the place I'm going to build, but it was available to deliver this thing. And basically what you see here, 18.3 times 12.2 meter tent shed and 7 meters height. There's an image of it. It's a PVC storage tent, and this is going to be my lair for the next few years, so quite excited, I have to say. It's only the start. I still don't have the place for this, so gives some pressure with this thing. One thing is done, and now we can move to the next one, which is the CNC router just around the corner there. Let's take a look at that now. Exciting day today. I'm just going to the workshop and we're going to move the machine today from there to a temporary place where I'm able to put it all together. So let's see how this goes. Quite a heavy piece of equipment and hopefully we will manage it. And here we go, the machine table is on the truck now, looking good. Everything is tied down. And the legs are here, and the rails and racks here as well. Now we're leaving this place. And now we're back at the frame. This place is temporary. This is my father-in-law's workshop slash something. And I'm now allowed to bring this beast temporary here. And now we're here to assemble this. And I just wiped these surfaces with thinner. I'm not sure what it's in English, but there was some grease on these machine surfaces to protect it from rusting during the trip here, which was a good choice because it was rainy and miserable day. But I think I'll try to put these rails onto this machine. So I have all the rails here in the package and one is here. And we'll try to put these and the racks on their places and let's see how they fit. And yeah, they fit perfectly as they should. Let's try the racks now. All the holes align great. Okay, now I have a bunch of screws. And now we'll mount these. Alright, I got all the screws on the first side. As you can see, there are screws in all the holes and everything fits perfectly. They're not yet tightened, but already feel very sturdy. They're going to be tightened after we have the gantry on here, so we can check the movement and align everything. It feels so good to see it coming together. And we're done. Now the racks and the rails are in and one screw was left behind, like so. But now what we actually can do right now is to align this rack. As you remember, we're going to have a pinion that is going to be spring tensioned against the rack. So it really doesn't matter if this rack is just slightly wobbling. But what's important is this joint. I couldn't get rack this long, so there is a joint right here. But how we're going to align this perfectly is to use this extra piece of rack, what was left when we cut this rack in the length. And now we are just going to put this rack around here, and you can maybe see there's just slight gap in here, so they are not perfectly aligned right now. But when I put clamps on these, it should align itself perfectly. So let's do that now. And now we're going to put the rack here. There is some gap there. Joint here is a little bit too tight maybe, because there's some like a 0.5 millimeter or less. Here it is perfect, so I think there's just slight disalignment with the rack here, but it's so small that I don't think it really matters. But yeah, now the rack is kind of one piece, and now we can start tightening these in. One bit at a time. Now when I loosen these, it shouldn't move anymore. Just like that. Now this rack is on its place. And now I'll do the same on the other side. Okay, now the racks are in. These are on their places but not tightened yet. We'll do that later. And over there you can maybe see the aluminum profile. Let's take a look at that now. So this is what I may call gantry. It's 200 millimeters tall, 80 millimeters thick, and the material thickness is something like 7 millimeters. It's a hefty beast, and it should be plenty strong for this application. It was quite expensive as well, but it was the biggest one that I could find that was still affordable. I can now feel this. Maybe you can hear there's some play. Of course, this machine is just on those pallets, so it hasn't been aligned at all yet. I also have the parts to put the linear rails into this, but I will not do that yet. I will do that when we have this on its place right here, so we'll wait with that. And of course this is also quite heavy to lift. If I put those on, it will be even heavier, so let's keep it like this for now. Okay, I didn't find any acceptable leveling tool here, but I will bring my own next time I come here, and then we will align the table as best as we can in here. So I think we'll put some wooden blocks on the corners and in the middle, so we can make it as straight as possible. It is very stiff and substantially heavy. There's no way I can lift this one corner here by myself. So we have to deal with that later. But yeah, let's jump back to the office and see if we can do something for the electrics. And we're back in the office. Let's finish this video by doing a bit overview of this mighty cabin. So you saw me kind of finding the places of this all, and now it's basically done. There's still some things missing from the cabin, like this fan, and I totally forgot to put the output for this cooling water pump, so I have to deal with this as well. What you see here is basically all the stuff we discussed in the last video. If you haven't watched that, you can check it out. And what's new here is all these middle parts. So you can see on this end there's the European 3-phase power input, and there's a on-off switch and a spindle output right over here. And rest of the ports are on that side. And I think I'm going to put this fan at top of there, and it will suck warm air out of the cabin. And down here I'm going to put the hole for the cool air to enter into the cabin. In the middle section here you can see there's some breakers, there's a contactor to turn on everything. It's a 3-phase contactor, and then there is also false current protecting device here. So if anything goes wrong, this will shut down the power. And everything is distributed from the 3 phases. So the first phase is just for the motors, second phase is for the spindle, and the third phase will power just the small stuff like this controller and rest of the stuff and pump. So the 1-phase 220 wasn't really enough to power everything, the spindle and the motors and everything at the same time, so I decided to go with the 3-phase power supply. So now there's plenty of headroom if I ever need to make this even more powerful, or maybe add 4th and 5th axis or something like that. What's now missing is just basically this fan output for this cooling water pump and some wires. I have to still solder. There's 4 of these sensor cables I need to put there, the most difficult ones, so I have understandably postponed them in the future. Yeah, but this is almost ready to go, and the aluminum parts for the CNC router are on the works right now. We're going to get them soon, and then we have to make a few shafts for the Y-axis. They are just really busy at the machine shop right now when the holidays have started, and they do a lot of spare parts for industry, so we have to wait a couple of weeks to get the rest of the parts done. Right now is June 14th, and I still haven't got the site for the shed, so I'm kind of working on it all the time, and I'm really getting out of options and places, so it's kind of a bummer because I really would like to have the shed put up during this summer so we can start the real project at fall. So I might have to widen the search area, but I hope we can get some kind of solution for that soon. Thanks for watching. This was kind of weird video, I think, but we got quite a lot of things done, and hopefully on the next video we'll get to put the CNC machine together with all of this and rest of the parts, and maybe got some movement with that. So meanwhile I've been done some stuff for the lake camel, for these benches, and of course done some sailing as well. So this has been quite a nice start of this summer, so put some thumbs up there, and remember to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Have an amazing and safe summertime, everybody. In the northern hemisphere, at least. Bye!